Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. Normally, don't stream this late or early, depending. Usually stream at midnight or noon, so this is a little early, little late, depending on your point of view. But I have a big old stack of comics, and I always like to talk about them before I can put them away. So, got nothing else to do, so I thought I would do it now. And of course, never fails, never fails. Turn on the camera. I got to sneeze. So, how you doing? This is comics, comics, comics. This is just me talking about comics. I got a big old stack of comics that I've been reading since the last time I did one of these, and we'll talk about them. First and foremost, let's put this up here. Fun My Comics has Heroic Tales 2 still available. Working hard on Patriarch #1. That's going to be the next issue. My next campaign is going to be Patriarch #1. It's being colored. Renzo is drawing some pages. Oscar is coloring some pages. For those of you who aren't familiar, the way it works is I write a script, I send it to the artist draws it, and then the colorist colors it. And then the last step is the Bill Williams, the letterer, letters it. And then it's off to the races. So that's where Oscar's coloring it. It's so good. So good. I can't wait. Can't wait for you. A few people have read the script, said it's really good. My goal is to improve with every script, and I think I am. I think this is my best one until the next one. You know, Heroic Tales 3 is already written, but both of those stories are promised to Renzo because it's the sequel to Mary Sue. So I want the artist. I like the teams to be consistent, and then the debut of the Raven, which Renzo wants to draw the character because it's like a Batman. It's a real dark, violent Batman type story. And then I have Heroic Tales 4, 5, and 6 in various. I got a bunch of artists working on various stories. They'll come in when they come in, and then depending upon the order, we'll see which stories go which. I have a story out with Matt Barr that's gonna go. Matt Barr rather. That he's got like 2 other projects ahead, so that who knows. Oh, so I already lost track of what I was talking about. So this year, my goal is to. Last year I did 80 pages of comics. This year I want to do 81 pages of comics. I have 12 pages already done, completed. That's in Bill Williams's hand. That story is called A Rock in a Hard Place, and it's going to be in giant size Punchline #1. So this is the first time any of my stuff is going to be appearing in somebody else's comic. Now, Bill graciously gives me permission to reprint that in my stuff whenever I want, but it's going to be in his book first. That was the deal. I honor the deal. So it'll be in his book first, and then I'll publish it somewhere along the line, in my stuff later on. But I hope you support Giant Size Punchline #1. There'll be a campaign for that, and then it'll be in comic book stores by Antonic Press. I don't know exactly when, but Patriarch #1 campaign will be going live. I'm waiting for the book to be complete before we do that. Maybe at the same time, we're going to do a campaign for King Fu Blue Christmas, because I want that to be in your hands by Christmas. Now, you could have 2 open campaigns on Fund My Comic at any given point. I have 1 open campaign, but it's already complete, and then I'm working on a store. So I'm not going to, you're allowed to have a store and then 2 open campaigns, because I already completed. The store, the place that's open right now is already completed, so it's not going to hold against my numbers. And I got a secret project in the works. It was on again, off again, on again, off again. Looks like it's on again. And other stories. I got a I Love a Mystery that's being drawn by Marcus Kelligrew. I have The Memoirs of Violet McCready, Chapter 1, Big Iron, which is being written by Nova Creates, drawn by Nova Creates. What else is going on? Oh, yeah, the Printer's Devil, which is being drawn by Stippling Vaughn. I have one project that the artist just disappeared. I don't know what's happening with that. So that's on hold until I hear from that artist. I hope everything's cool. Hope everything's well with your family. And then, Eddie is Doomed with Tonic Bowl and Oscar. That's chugging along. What else is there? Oh, yeah. And I know the second Raven story is being drawn by Ron Mosicki, who's about a third of the way done. And I know there's something else that I'm forgetting. I know there's. Oh yeah, Sleeper Agent is being drawn by Luke Stone. So I think that's everything in the piece. So I got a lot of stuff, a lot of irons in the fire. I have other scripts written, and I'm talking with other artists, but enough's enough. I can't overextend myself. So this is going to be an open invite. Anybody wants to come in? Turn on your camera. I like to see faces. And Garfield, Bizarre Adventures. How you doing, Garfield? How's everything? Thank you. You threw my link in at Lord Raptor on his newscast. Thank you. Right? It was you or KSS or I forget, or Woodrow, somebody. But anyway, whoever it was, thank you. So that's all the channel news. Oh, tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will have Chuck Dixon. Chuck Dixon will be here tomorrow. We're going to talk about the 7 Deadly Sinners, and then whatever comes to mind. I don't schedule our talks. And then tomorrow at midnight, we'll have Phil Diaz. In between, I have to work. Someone's got to pay the bills around, So I got to go to work. Got to pay the bills. Hey, Tony Grigo, how you doing? Remember, this is an open invite show if anybody wants to come in and talk with me. So, comics. This is what I've been reading since the last time I did comics. So this is Mystery 35. There's 50 issues. I don't know about you, but I get a weird sense of satisfaction when I've finished reading a series. I'm like, oh, it's done. I read every issue of Mystery. I read every issue of Blobface. I don't know. It's like when a series gets canceled and I read the last issue, I'm like, oh, okay. If I don't really get distressed that the comic is over. I feel like happy that I have it all in its completion. It's just I guess like an anal retentive thing. Tony says, ask Chuck if he has any Airborne news. Okay, but I'm sure he's going to say the same as last time, which was he crowdfunded issue 51 of Airboy, and I don't think it did as well as he had hoped to continue doing it. That's what I think. Doing fine. Also looking forward to Phil and Chuck interviews. Cool. That's tomorrow. And then Wednesday, it's comic book team up with RJ. Thursday, I got nothing scheduled. I might do Avengers Assembled, where I just open up. I think I'm going to start with Avengers 150 and work my way to Avengers 200. The problem is that something you should do at midnight? You know what I mean? Like, I know I'm in New York and a lot of people got a couple of hours past it. So let me know in the chats, in the comments, should I save Avengers Assembled for another time? I don't know when I'm going back to a normal schedule. I really don't know. But man, I'm bleeding viewers. Sorry. I got the same feeling when I completed Cerberus. Yeah, I got to get back. Onto Cerberus. It's just a slog. So anyway, this is Mystery number 35. I like this issue. She's back in the saddle, meaning she's trying to date again. She's talking about the last time she was with the man, and of course the guy gets killed by the end of the issue. She meets this cool guy, an insurance agent. Turns out the insurance agent was blamed. A guy lost his family and everything. His insurance got rejected, so he took it out. And Mystery is Man, this woman kills everybody. She's got a body count. She's got a body count. And that kind that you kids are talking about. She's that kind of body count. Okay, so here we got 36. Whatever happened to Johnny Dynamite? This is more mystery. Okay, Garfield's still here. So we got Garfield and Tony watching. How you doing, Garfield? How you doing, Tony? All right. Maybe people will watch later on. So we got Mystery 36. Whatever happened to Johnny Dynamite? Johnny Dynamite is a public domain character. And it's like a 40s golden age. Maybe Tony knows. He's a golden age detective comic character. And he's public domain, so they just scooped him up and put him into here. And then he is supposed to be the guy who trained Mike Mist, who is a Max Collins, Terry Beatty creation. And so he's part of the Mystery universe now. The only thing that I don't like is now, I assume towards the rest of the series, there's just Golden Age reprints. So, like, I'm like, I bought Mystery because I wanted to read Mystery. And then half the book is Johnny Dynamite reprints. That usually means that the book isn't selling too well or whatever. It's cheaper to just reprint some old stuff that you just grab. Okay, we got Don Simpson's Toronto Man, issue 1 of 1. This is from part of the Megaton Man world. I'm like the last known survivor fan of Don Simpson, and he was very snarky and nasty to me when I asked him to come on the channel. He wanted an itinerary of what we were going to talk about. I'm like, I don't know, it's a conversation. But I'm still a big fan. It was fun, but he's super progressive. So even back in 1990, it was like, oh, come on. But it was fun. It's fun. I like his world. Let's see, what do we got here? Oh, I bought Steve Bissett's Tyrant #1, but I already had it. So it was, I just I bought it again, but I'm glad I bought it because the copy that I had was second printing. So I got a first printing copy, and I got all 4 issues. Hey, Tony, how you doing?
Hey, John.
How's everything?
Everybody. He was created, Johnny Dynamite was created.
I knew you were going to have the answers. I knew it.
By Paul Morrissey in 1951. He had that distinction of having he lost his eye in like his second or his third appearance. So he has the eye patch. Yeah, I really I discovered him in I think the 90s when Dark Horse reprinted a lot of that old stuff.
Okay, I knew you would know the Golden Age. So did you ever read this Tyrant, Steve Bissett's Tyrant?
I love it. That's such a great, and it's a silent comic. It's just done through the air. It's really good. Right. It's
great art, and it's the story of a Tyrannosaurus Rex from being hatched to grow, and it's like 4 issues. Really good art, just so good. Look at that cover. I can't stop looking at it.
Oh yeah, he's beautiful. He can draw dinosaurs like nobody.
Yeah,
he's really good. Man.
He gives them facial expressions, everything. So Garfield says Mark Miller is definitely left wing, but he doesn't let opposing viewpoints interfere with a good conversation. Yeah.
Agreed.
Agree. So what do we got here? Oh, this was X-Men 122. This is here because I did Sunday Comics. I love this issue.
Hey,
this
John,
is just,
what
were you saying?
I was going to say, what was your favorite costume with Colossus? I like the one he used in the Outback, where it was just he had the gauntlets and the trunks. Did you like the classic Colossus costume?
This right here. This is the best.
Yeah.
This is the best. This is when I discovered the team. These Dave Cockrum designs are the best as far as I'm concerned. I love this. What do we got next? Oh, Babs. So this is Garth Ennis. Let me pull the camera back a little bit. Okay, see if we can get that in. So this is Garth Ennis and I don't know if I'm saying it right, Jason Burrows for Ahoy Comics. And it's a goof on Red Sonja, so it's fantasy, but it's like tongue in cheek. It reminds me of like Xena the Warrior Princess. She's got an enchanted sword, and the sword's like wisecracking and talking to her, and wants to take naps, and she's always trying to drink and have sex and whatever. And I don't know. I think, like, is it supposed to be woke, or is it making fun of woke? Like, I don't know, but either way, it's good art. It's kind of fun. So I'm sticking with it. I think this is the first of a second 4-issue series. I like it enough to continue, but at first I saw some woke stuff in it, and I'm like, oh God. But then I started to think that it's just making fun of everything. There's like conservative. So I don't know. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. So here, I'll put this here. This is Man-Child #1 by Nandor Fox Schaefer. He's been on my channel a few times, and this is a comic that the premise is remarkably similar to Eddie is Doomed, where this is a big fat comic book guy. He's a child. That's where the similarities end. But Eddie is Doomed is about a man-child. Works, he manages a supermarket, but he goes to the comic book store. That's where the similarities end. But whatever. But this is really, really good. Nandor Fox is a good writer. I'm trying to remember the name of his other comic. He has a science fiction comic, and I think he has a barbarian comic, and now he has this. And this is really good. This is really good. As his issue 2, they're at the movie theaters complaining that the movie isn't exactly like the comic book. It's got all the tropes. Here's issue 3. They meet so it's just, and then I got all the variant covers. Look, I forget if I paid for all the variant covers. Look at that. Isn't that great? Isn't that a great cover? I forget if I paid for them or if he just sent them to me, but I got all these variant covers. So there's 3 issues. Look at that. That is just awesome. And they're really, really, really good. I mean, I'm dying to talk about it, but I don't want to spoil it. There's a good story in it. It's more than just dirty guy collecting comic books. And I can't wait for the next issue. Come on. I want number 4. Finish it off. I just noticed the sword was flipping. Yeah, the sword's like a little wise ass. Did you ever read this? Resident Aliens?
Yeah, that was a TV show, right? The
TV show ticked me off. The TV show ticked me off because the TV show, he came to Earth to destroy the Earth, and the first thing he does is kill somebody. He's a good guy in the comic. He was always a good guy. He was just sent to Earth to observe. He crash lands, and he goes to like in the movie, he crash lands while trying to destroy the Earth, and then he goes to a cabin, a secluded cabin of like a ice fisherman, and he kills him and takes his identity. That's the TV show. In the comic, he goes there and the guy's already dead.
Like John Jones, the Martian Manhunter.
Right. The guy's already dead, so he takes over his identity, and it's the perfect thing because it's just a guy like an isolationist. Turns out that guy was the town's doctor. So the police come, and he's like, oh no. And they're just like, we don't have a coroner. Could you help us solve this crime? There's been a murder. So he's, an alien. He's more intelligent than the average human. So he gets caught up in solving a murder. That's the first 4-issue story. And then he turns out to like it. And he's smart, and it's challenging. And, people getting sick. So like, hey, doc. So now he's the doctor. Hence, the resident alien. So he's the doctor. And he's a good guy. You like him. He's likable. He doesn't want to take over the Earth. His people don't want to destroy the Earth. But they're like, it was like a anthropologist, or not an anthropologist, but like an animal, whatever it is, and just observing us. That's all it was. And now, he falls in love, and now he has a baby, and that changes everything because now there's a hybrid, and that involves interstellar politics and stuff. So there's a couple of woke things which really bother me, but they're like he has this hypnotic ability, and he just puts out like a psionic field, and everybody sees him as the body that he found dead. But like once in a while, people have the ability to see through the disguise. It just happens that every Native American could see, because they got mystic, not Native American senses. You know what I mean? And they're wise, and and they're tolerant, and they're as they're Native American Gordon Good brothers. You know what I mean? Like that's just such a, because this writer is from Britain, so he's like, he probably never met a real Indian, never, but they're all kind and accepting and special and wonderful and magic, and that bothers me. Other than that, it's a
the noble savage trope.
Right. Mm-hmm. And this is the last 4-issue series. Yes, this is number 2. So what are they doing? The aliens now are revealing themselves to the government and basically saying, you're part of the world population now, because now you have, one of us native to your world kind of thing. Like that's the rules. Here's issue 3. Oh, and the other woke, and it's pretty good because this is like the 4th. So this is like issue 30, really. It's like a series of miniseries. And here's the 4th issue. And the other woke thing is there's a U.S. agent that found him early on, and he got abducted and decided to live amongst the aliens. Now he comes back. He's like the cultural expert. So he knows about the aliens. He knows about Earth. So he's like the liaison between the Earth government and the aliens. And he fell in love with an alien who looks like a black man. So the only black character in the book is gay. It's just like you lefties, like you're afraid of like tough black guys, and Native Americans are all super woke. You know what I mean? Like, what are the odds that the only male black guy in the well, he's an alien, but he uses his psionic field to look black. You know what I mean? So of course he's gay. Of course, you know what I mean? But I don't know. Alien species are also gay now too. I should just knock it off. You know what I mean? But
everybody's gay in comics now, John.
Right. But it's a really good series. Peter Hogan wrote for Doctor Who, and when Doctor Who was good. And so this is the end of the series. Now there's just one shot coming out in May, and that's the end of the series. And I'll miss it. I'll miss it. Like I said, gender swapping and stuff like that is a non-starter for me, but it's his own property. There's no gender swapping. This guy made it up. He can do whatever he wants. And he chose to make the black men gay and all the Indian stereotypes because progressives. Savage Dragon, issue 278. I keep saying that I'm going to be done with this series, but I'm too retentive. I just can't quit,
I haven't read an issue of this in over 20 years, but somebody has to, I guess.
It was so good at one point. Well, he sabotaged himself. I talk about this guy sabotaged himself just as bad as Richard C. Myers. I don't know if somebody could find the numbers, but I think this sells less than like 2,000 copies a month.
Wouldn't surprise me.
You know what I mean? From a guy who was a superstar at one point. You see, Savage Dragon's still going on. He wants to do it till there's at least 301 issues. He's obsessed with beating Dave Sim's consecutive run.
But there is a big difference between him and Sim. Sim has talent. Yeah. This guy did at one point, but I don't know. It's rotted in his brain somehow.
I like his art style. For a while, he was rushing it out, and it was very scribbly. And then there was one point where it was just porn. Like he self-corrected. Like even he makes fun of it. It's like, yeah, I don't know what happened, But I don't know. He's out of his mind.
Mm-hmm.
This is part 2 of a 2-issue miniseries of Hellboy, the BPRD. Man, trying to put all the Hellboys in my comp boxes is a chore because there's Hellboy, then there's Hellboy in the BPRD, then there's a BPRD, then there's Hellboy in the BPRD with year dates. It's like, oh my god, you know. But this is the Ghost Ships of Labrador, and it's funny because the first issue starts with a woman in a wheelchair, and I'm just like, oh god. And what happens? She's helpless within 3 pages. You know, it was kind of like, okay, that's what would really happen with the woman in a wheelchair, and she calls him Hellboy. But it's ghost ships are coming, like all these ghost pirates are coming to this place, you know, Labrador. And why? And so Hellboy's like, you got to get out of here, the ghost. And the ghost's like, no, you don't understand. We're fleeing what's coming. And that's how the cliffhanger ended on issue. I was like, oh my god! Turns out there's a ghost ship that Shanghai's. He's a ghost ship pirate who Shanghai's other ghosts. So the ghosts are hiding on land, so that so they won't get shanghaied by the ghost pirate. I thought that was a great concept. You know, it was really good. I'm still a big fan of Hellboy, Mike Mignola, and I get anything Hellboy related. I recommend. I'm sorry.
I said, have you seen the last movie, that like low budget Hellboy, the one that was the adaptation?
Yeah, I didn't see the last 2 Hellboy movies. You know, that low budget one, and then the one with David Harbour I didn't see. Although David Harbour looked perfect.
I talked to Ron Perlman at a con, and I said, any chance we're ever going to get a number 3? He said, no. I asked why. He said, because everybody lost interest. I guess.
Yeah, everybody lost interest, and you insult half the audience, right? Because he's got this anti-Trump derangement syndrome. It's like, shut your mouth, act like Hellboy. Yeah. Geiger. Do you read this?
Great series.
Good. Yeah, I'm really digging. This is my favorite of the Ghost Machine. I'm really liking this. Great art, great story. I mean, it at first I wasn't digging the world, but I was digging the character. But now, you know, after 19 issues, I'm getting the world, you know, or 20 issues. Now this guy shows up, the Northerner, pretty cool. Like he's tying together all of his stuff. And then I finally bought this. I was missing Redcoat number 4.
Great series.
So now I could catch up on Redcoat. So you know, I read the first 3 and then promptly forgot that I was missing an issue. And then you know, I went through my stack. I was like, because I can't read it if I'm missing an issue. I got number 4, and then that broke the dam, and I was able to read 5. So Redcoat is he's an immortal. So he absorbed the magic that the founding fathers were going to give to General Washington, and so now he just can't die. And if he does die, he just comes back like fully healed a little bit later. You know, so like people, like a few times he's dead laying there, and the people are like, okay, we're gonna bury him, and he pops up again. You know what I mean? So you can't kill him. So here he is over here. Great covers.
Yeah, I really love the Ghost Machine stuff. That's some of the better comics out there.
Yeah. Where's number 7? Okay, so number 7 is going to pop up. Yeah, Brian Hitch, great artwork, and he's kind of like he's detached because he's tired of seeing people grow old and die or get sick and die. You know, none of that stuff happens to him. So he's like putting emotional armor on, which I think is what you would do, you know. So he's not that he's so much of a callous jerk, is that he's kind of protecting himself.
Like the Highlander film.
Yep. Hellboy, the Golden Army was fantastic. I love the creature designs, especially the dish. It's a flawed movie. I could have done without them getting drunk and singing Neil Diamond and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is Carmen Redclaw, Belly of the Beast. This is Mike Mignola, Ray Allen, and Michael Metz. So her name is Carmen Redclaw. She's an American Indian girl in the cowboy times. And I think she's like the grandmother of Lobster Johnson.
Ah,
So I think, we're going to get the origin of like why Lobster Johnson kind of has the powers that he has. That's what I think, because she has a ranch, and the cattle has the Lobster Johnson claw mark branded on them. Which I know I think that's so cool. I'm working on a story called The Memoirs of Violet McCready, Chapter 1, Big Iron, and it's set in 1873. Signal, Arizona, not too far from you. And it's Science City before Science City. I kind of love that. So it's gonna have science, magic.
I like the name McCready.
Yeah, it's my wife's role playing character.
Oh,
When the first time we played Villains Vigilantes, the way I do it, and of course I always got to talk about role playing games, is we make up the Peter Parker guy first, and then the Spider-Man, if that makes sense. So if Tony Grigo is to play, you're going to come up with your secret identity, and then we kind of do like an adventure of you before you have your powers, just so you, especially if you never played before. So once you get the superpowers, it gets complicated. So like you're role playing, so you just learn how to role play. So my wife played with Violet McCready, and then we never played again, with that character. And then we played another game, and I forget the name of Claudia something. Claudia O'Connell was her second character. So I felt like I owed her character some stories, and so that character, Violet McCready, was set in the 30s, and so we're doing her childhood in the 1870s. Here's Capes number 2. This is Robert Kirkman. So this is they did a Capes series already years and years ago, and then because of the Invincible and everything like that, they're bringing it back. So these are professional superheroes, meaning they get paid, they have benefits. Capes is like a company, and the only thing that I don't like is the super intelligent guy is the bad guy. It's like Robert Kirkman. What do you got against smart guys? But you know what? Now with the Epstein files being released, I'm starting to realize that all of these so-called experts and brainiacs are bad people. You know what I mean? So I stand corrected. Like you don't see like cool, good-looking actors. You see like businessmen and CEOs and scientists.
yeah. But what I heard about when I heard him talk, Epstein, you figure out he had charisma, he had the gift of God, but he was an idiot. He was kind of stupid, and he had thoughts of delusions of grandeur. I'm gonna start a breeding facility, and I'm gonna create a master race of children. Get out of here, man.
Like the Bill Gates, yeah. All the guys that teenagers couldn't get chicks, and now they grew up to be 40 years old, creeps. All the athletes and good-looking actors and stuff like that. They didn't have this inadequacy in their. And I don't want to talk about it anymore. But the super intelligent guy is the bad guy. And here's number 3. Good cover. Kick Ass number 1. I don't know why I have 2 copies of this, so I just put it on the pile. So this is Kick Ass 3. I didn't read this yet. I bought issue number 1 so I could read it, and then I went and got my series, and I already had it. So I have 2 copies. Oh,
it was all right. I preferred the films more, to be honest.
This is another one I bought number 9, but I meant to buy number 10, so I have 2 copies of number 9. So I already read this. Again, I get these. This is Warrant magazine. I was like, oh, Vampirist Camilla, Warrant magazine. And in my mind read it Warren. So I thought Warren Magazines was making a comeback. So I started buying them. But it's another company just, trying to trick.
I found that myself. Are they any good? Do they match the quality
of course,
the old
they're not as good as Warrant. They don't have those geniuses. But they're good enough that I still buy them.
Okay.
Like the original, I saw Creeps by Warrant magazine, and I was like, oh, my brain read it as Creepy by Warren. So I thought it was then I realized it was Creeps instead of Creepy. So I was like, okay, whatever. They changed it, and then they got a cease and desist, and they changed it to Shutter.
Did they try to steal Uncle Creepy and Cousin Yuri?
No, but they do have like this
Yeah.
is it's just instead of a Vampira, it's Vampirus Camilla. She's the one telling the stories.
Oh, I see.
Or here's the new okay, so what I showed you was the first series. This is the second series, Black Road South. I kind of like this. It's continuing the story from the last one. They're in the bar and they're fabulously wealthy. They got all the payment, the treasure, and they're just doing whatever they want. And they get so drunk, they wake up and all the money's gone. So they find out that they just okayed to stuff. Like they were like doing drugs and getting drunk, and then like other people were just like, hey, why don't you finance an expedition? So they thought that they were going on a mission, but what they were really okaying was financing a mission. So they wake up and they're paying a bunch of explorers to basically go to a place that even they won't go, the Black Road South. Like, no, we're not going. So now they have to go to the Black Road South to recover the treasure that they already got. It's kind of funny. Oh, here's Ghost. His Redcoat number 7. What does Garfield say? Garfield says, I don't like Kick-Ass, both the comics, the movie, not my. Yeah, I can see that. Like, Mark Miller, some of his stuff is just too over the top for me. But Kick-Ass has a good amount of humor in it that, I don't think I'm going to be rereading it 20 years down the line. But, Kick-Ass is really not more violent than like Garth Ennis's Punisher and stuff. Like the Chuck Dixon and Mike Barron Punisher seemed to be a little bit more comic booky in the fact that it wasn't like as graphic, the violence, and as what's the word, like there's like just a meanness level of violence that's in Kick-Ass. Here's number 8. Just good, just a good comic.
Oh yeah, they're really good comics.
What I really like is Johnny Appleseed character. Are you up to Johnny Appleseed?
You're gonna kill me for doing this, John, but for these guys, I wait for the trades.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a big floppy guy as much as I used to be anymore. I'm more or less I collect omnibuses, trades, hardcover, stuff like that.
Well, to spoil it a little bit, Johnny Appleseed is immortal also.
Okay.
And they meet up every couple of years and just talk. And Johnny Appleseed is kind of like an elemental. Like he can control plants and everything like that, and he's like the only guy that Redcoat is friends with because they're both immortals. I like the character. And Johnny Appleseed isn't like jaded yet. He's still a good guy. Here's the Mighty Mascots number 4 by Keith Gleason. He was on my channel also. So this is like Saturday morning cartoons in a comic book. So think of this as like you could give this to your kids, your nieces and nephews, the little ones. There's no curse. So it's a Saturday morning cartoon. So it's all the serial mascots come to life and they form a super team. Like, and then this is all like the bosses in video games. So that's like Donkey Kong, Sonic the Hedgehog, Mario, one of the Street Fighter guys, what's his name, Mega Man, but it's not really them. It's legally distinct from them. You know what I mean? So if that's what they kind of do, have like cartoon fights with that. It's pretty good, pretty fun. Here's just a phenomenal. Yeah, I did this for Sunday Comics. Just such a great comic. I love this.
Oh man, I always loved arcade. I love that whole murder world, thing. Even though the character makes no sense, I always liked him.
Right, I talk about that a lot. The past 2 weeks, like how the character of Arcade is so limited. He's a limited scope villain, but if you do him right, which this is his 3rd appearance in the Marvel universe. He debuted in Marvel Team Up number 65
Mhm.
and 66 with Captain Britain. And then X. So this is the second appearance because you put that was, this is his fourth comic, second appearance, because two comics were one story, two comics were one story. And it's the same story both times. I heard nowadays he does like a Squid Game kind of stuff, which kind of makes sense.
I guess.
It kind of makes sense. So I can't pass judge it because I don't have him. But from what I heard, people in the chat were saying, oh, yeah, he shows up now. And it's like he's like a computerized, like almost like a deity of like a holodeck type world. I guess that's the only way to keep him going, but I don't know. I reserve judgment until I see him.
I wonder if he still looks like a pinball wizard.
Yeah, I was talking about that. How this is, the Who's Pinball Wizard. That was super big back in 1978, 79. Here's the Mighty Mascots. This is the Boss Brigade. This is just fun, wholesome comics that you can read with your kids. Bonus round. Instead of Sugar Bear, it's Boxer Bear. Instead of Snap, Crackle, Pop, it's like Whack, Boom, and Smack. And, Captain Honey Flakes instead of Captain Crunch. Because you can't. And then instead of like McGruff, it's Grunt Calhoun. Take the bite out of crime.
I forgot about him. That was cool.
And one of the insurance mascots, the Aflac duck was killed. So it was, the whatever, something mallard. So that this something just fell. So here was, instead of the Golly Green Giant, it's like the giant Gog Giant something. And instead of the little sprout, it's the Colonel. And it's terrifying the way they draw him. Oh, here he is right here. Look at that. It's like almost too scary for this comic.
It was pretty cool. Yeah.
It's not bad. It's fun. Here's
The Proletariat.
Yeah. Well, look at this comic. Yeah. I remember this comic when this comic came out. This is my actual comic from back then. I never bought a replacement for this. A couple of the other ones got too damaged, and I bought a replacement. So I never got around to replacing this one. Yeah, got this right off the spinner rack as a kid. I love that. Oh my god! And here is issue 10. This is triple sized of the Mighty Mascots. What else did I get? Oh yeah, that's so big. I gotta clear it. This is Screecher number 4. This is Phoenix Press. This finishes out a 4-issue stories. Now this is a crowdfunding comic, and I don't know. I'm kind of loath to do multi-issue stories because I never know. You never know if you're gonna make it back. You know what I mean? People gonna come back after 8 months. Between issues stuff. So I'm trying to do one and done stories. That will interconnect over time, build upon each other. Like I'm already planning the return of Boss Moxie and those guys. That's gonna be good. It's gonna be fun. But like if you don't have the issue, you'll still figure out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But so I got to give Nick, that's Nick Gibson, the credit. He did a 4-issue story, stuck to it, and published it. Not a lot of people in crowdfunding do that. So got to give credit where credit's due. And it's a fun, satisfying end. And next issue is another story arc. So good for him. And then I read Solo Legion.
Mm-hmm.
I got minor criticisms. Like I was telling my wife, this is Super Friends, the comic. You know what I mean? It's not the greatest art, but even he says that. It's a Saturday morning cartoon feel. Everybody could read it. You can read it with your kids. It's a comic. It's a cartoon comic book. It's not trying to be The Watchmen. It's not trying to be Dark Knight. It's just good, fun, wholesome comic books. There's a couple of critiques that I would make, but overall, he succeeded in what he was doing, which was making Super Friends. Attack the giant ice creature. And
I picked up the DC's finest trade paperback of the first chunk of the Super Friends from Elliot S. Nagin.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, pretty good.
What year did the original comics come out?
76 through that the chunk that the finest trade paperback I have is 76 through 78.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Big chunk, big huge thing, but it's neat. The art's simple, the stories are simple, but it's fun.
And this is the last thing. Star Circuit #2, another crowdfunded comic. You know, science fiction, future sci-fi. You know, kind of like he's a racer in a space station. You know, with a lot of anime influences. So that's everything that I read. So I will do this. Okay.
Hey John, have you ever read a comic called Coffin, written by Phil Hester?
What's it called?
Coffin.
No.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's really good, 4 issues. The art is fantastic. It was published by Oni Press. I would recommend you get it. Really good story.
Yeah, I the only thing by Oni Press I've ever read is Queen and Country.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that a lot. And then I bought Scott Pilgrim, but it's like it's small sized, so I don't know where I put it. You know, so I got a first printing Scott Pilgrim vs. the World because everybody talked about how good it was, and now I don't know where it is. So I got to find it because it's not in my comic book boxes because it's a different size. So it's got to be upstairs with all my like regular books because it's like the size of a paperback. So I got to find it. You said yeah, but no, I haven't read that. Those are the only 2 Oni Press comics that I have. Not that I have anything against them. I just didn't
No, I'd recommend it. I think you'd like it. Like I said, the art will blow you away. I forget who does the art, but it's really good series.
Okay. Coffin, Coffin.
Yep, Coffin.
Okay, so that's everything that I read. I also picked this up. This is the Villains Vigilantes rule book for 3.0, but for legal reasons, they had to change it to the Mighty Protectors. And I was all aboard until I saw this, and then I put the book down. Charts to roll your gender identity and sexual expression. Do you want to be non-binary? And then expressions of non-binary. You could be your gender expression, same as your gender identity, different from your gender identity. Androgynous involves traits associated with multiple genders, gender neutrality, mostly devoid of gender traits. And your biological, so you got your gender identity, that's a whole chart. And then your gender expression, which is another chart. And then your biological sex. You could be cisgender, transgender, or intersex. And then your sexual attraction. So you could be straight, you could be gay, lesbian, bisexual, pansexual, or asexual. So I made it to page 9. And then I was like, oh, God. Maybe someday I'll get back to it. But that's not what I want out of a superhero role-playing game.
Oh, that's what superhero comics are now, man. I mean, for the most part.
Yeah. And
they're just reflecting what's going on with Marvel and DC now.
And if you make it up a character, don't you make up all that stuff? Like you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, the way I would think of it is you'd make up the character, and then whatever they were, that was secondary. The main thing was the character itself. But it seems like the way people make up stuff now is they go sexuality, skin color, and then they sort of work their way back from that.
What does Garfield say? Not a fan of Scott Pilgrim. I thought the premise was cool, but Scott is just too unlikable. I never saw the movie, never read the book. I wanted to read the comic first, but I can't find it. My brother says it's one of his favorite movies of all time, but I can't comment.
I agree with Garfield. He is thoroughly entertaining. He really is.
Yeah. So I can't comment on it. It's funny because people just like, do you watch TV at all? The answer is not as much, not that much. I don't watch that much. I read a lot of comics. Like, I don't know what it was, but I was like, I just realized I'd never watched Billy Zane's Phantom.
Oh, it's a great film.
So I think because you brought it up. I think you brought it up. So last night, my wife and I watched Billy Zane's Phantom, and it was fun. It was cheesy, it was hokey, but I liked it, you know. And then I do what I always do after I watch a movie is I go online and read all the stuff. It was written as a comedy, and then they scrapped the comedy idea, but used the same exact script. They just acted straight, you know. So I wonder, it would have been a bad comedy then because there was no jokes.
Well, I liked how the Catherine Zeta-Jones character was like Valkyrie from Airboy.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that. I thought that Treat Williams as the villain was he didn't really strike me as any like you want a villain that's like, you know, villainous. Treat Williams was sort of slimy. But
I thought that it was a threadbare threat. Like it was just like that. Oh, we got to get the skulls.
The skulls of
the world. You know, it was just like the hokeyest, you know, thread. But it was okay. You know, I think Billy Zane, like I could just imagine every time they said cut, Christy Swenson started laughing at Billy Zane. Like, you look ridiculous. You look like a sock. You know, but I enjoyed it. But I enjoyed it because it's just like a good, wholesome romp is the only word that I could think of. So then I said tomorrow night, meaning tonight, I said let's watch Zorro, the Antonio Banderas, Anthony Hopkins. I've never seen it before.
It's a great movie.
My wife liked it because when we first met, she was like a big Antonio Banderas fan. So we watched that, and man, I was riveted. The thing that I liked about it was every character. There was a couple of like slapstick moments, but every character was just deadly earnest. Like they committed to the bit. Anthony Hopkins was excellent.
Yeah, he was a good Don Diego de la Vega. He really was.
And Antonio Banderas was good. And Catherine Zeta-Jones, I mean, geez, you know, she doesn't even have to act back then. You know, she was like God carved the most beautiful woman, you know. And she was really good. And the story, the politics, everything about that movie was a really good story. You know, and the guy that for a quarter of the movie I thought was Woody Harrelson, but he wasn't. The Harry Love character. The sergeant.
I don't know who the actor was, but yeah, I know you're talking about. Have you ever seen Zorro, the Gay Blade?
Yeah, I saw that as a kid. Yeah, I remember watching that with my dad. But I was gonna say, like, he pulls out the jar with the head in it and everything. Like, that guy was he was a serial killer who became a military guy. To, you know, like
that was Emilio Zapata, right? That was the head, right? Or I forgot whose head that was.
Moretta was his name. Antonio Banderas, the guy whose head got cut off,
was his brother.
Who got the medallion. He was a historical person. He was a real
Murrieta.
And the guy who killed him, his real name was Harrison Love, but in the movie they called him Harold. And he was a Mexican, but they made him like an American soldier. He was a real character. Like, all the history was real. They just inserted Zorro into this. I really liked, to the point like I was reading up on that period of history, which I don't really know too well. You know, so I dug it. I thought it was really, and I didn't even know there was a sequel. So now next week I said we'll watch the sequel.
The first one is great. The sequel has its moments. Yeah, it's a shame they never made a third one.
Yeah.
Have you seen the new Tarzan film with the guy? Yeah, it's pretty good. A little too much Samuel Jackson in it. He sort of takes over the film, but you know, it's a decent movie. The guy from True Blood, the werewolf dude, he plays Tarzan. Looks pretty good.
Oh, you didn't see it yet?
Oh, I did see it.
Does it stick to the book? Is it the first book?
What?
Is it the first book? Like
no. It's he's retired. He's already reclaimed his status as the Earl of Greystoke, and then Sam Jackson comes in, and he's like, "There's slavery and all this bad stuff going on, and you have to come back and help us free some slaves." And it's sort of at the end of the movie, his son Korak is born.
Okay.
And it's decent. Like I said, it's a little heavy-handed in the politics, and like I said, Sam Jackson can be he can take you out of certain things sometimes, but the movie is pretty good.
Yeah, I'm trying. I don't think there's been a maybe in the black and white days, but in my lifetime, there hasn't been a true to the novel Tarzan movie.
Greystoke.
Oh, I forgot about Greystoke. That's not
Yeah,
the one.
84.
Is that the one with Bo Derek
Christopher Lambert. Yeah.
and Bo Derek?
No. That was the porno one that was done in the 80s. No.
Yeah.
Greystoke, The Legend of Tarzan, Lord of the Apes was directed by an Oscar-winning director, the guy that did Chariots of Fire. I forgot the dude's name, but it has Andy McDowell as Jane, and it has Christopher Lambert as.
Okay. I did see that as a kid. I remember that was on HBO all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, but the novel had sad parts in it. But yeah, it's a really good adaptation. And then of course you have the Disney version with Tate Donovan and Rosie O'Donnell as a singing cheetah, which my kid sister loved. She adored it. I could give her take it or leave it.
Uh, I haven't watched anything Disney since I think the last Disney thing I watched was the Little Mermaid. And I watched it with my niece. I'm old enough to remember when Disney was the bad guy, when like Jack Kirby was like, please don't ever, if I die, don't let me work for Disney. And now they're celebrating him as a Disney pioneer. Surprised he's not drilling his way down to the Mole Man's universe, in his grave. Yeah. What else? So next week we're gonna watch the sequel to Zorro, and then the Rocketeer again. I've already seen the Rocketeer, but my wife hasn't. Even though the Rocketeer technically isn't of that era, it kind of fits in. You know what I mean?
The guy that played Flash Gordon in the 80s, Sam Jones, he played the Spirit. Did you ever watch that?
The made for TV movie, right?
Yeah, but he's actually wearing the blue costume, and he looks just like he came out of the comics. That one was pretty good. There's a 1989 Golden Globus Captain America that it's cheesy, but it's good.
That's the one where he has the windshield on his motorcycle that he takes off and uses.
No. That was the made-for-TV film from '79. That's the one that one was cool because the bad guy was Christopher Lee. But no. The '89 Golden Globus Captain America is pretty good. The director that did that, he re-released his cut right before he died of the film. A lot more serious, a lot less cheesy. Actually, I prefer that cut more than the original one. But they're both good. I mean, they're not the Chris Evans Captain America, but they're pretty close to the source material.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so I want to watch all of these like pulp characters. Again, the Rocketeer was created in the early '80s, but to me he fits in with that era. So we watched,
let me go grab it. I'll show you.
we watched Zorro, we watched the Phantom. Next week we'll watch more Zorro. We'll watch Rocketeer. After that we'll watch the Shadow. And,
here it is.
Tracy. Oh yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, it's pretty decent. He actually fights the Red Skull.
The rubber ears on the mask.
Yes, that's the one. That's the one.
Yeah.
The Shadow movie was pretty good, even though that wasn't really the pulp character, nor was he really the radio character. He was its own character, but it was still a fun movie.
My biggest problem with that, I saw it in the movies, and that was the first. Like the Dick Tracy I saw in the movies, and I loved it in the movies.
Oh, I love Dick Tracy.
Blown away by it. And the Shadow movie, he looked perfect. He, as much as I can't stand Alec Baldwin, he was perfect casting. But my big problem was Rachel McNabb. Right? Was it who was the woman?
Penelope Ann Miller.
Penelope Ann Miller is too wholesome to play Margot Lane. Like even back then, I thought like Margot Lane and the Shadow had to have like this like a dirty sex chemistry, and she was just like she was like the sweetheart wife, like Mrs. Brady. You know?
Actually, I thought that Baldwin was too pretty to be Kent Elred, because Kent Elred had that long, ugly nose, and he looked dangerous. He did not look handsome. He was, I think Liam Neeson could have pulled it off, because Liam Neeson's got a big nose.
I never thought of that. Liam Neeson would have been a good show.
Yeah, he would have. He certainly would have the profile.
And Liam Neeson's not afraid to cover his face and put ugly makeup on.
No, Dark Man.
Yeah. Well, that was one of his first roles. He had to do it, but still, I think. Good night, Garfield. Yeah, I think Liam Neeson is that committed of an actor, whereas I think Mark Baldwin's not going to wear a mask. And that.
Oh no, that bothered me. You very rarely saw him with the scarf over his mouth, and I mean, you had that really cool 5 minutes in the beginning when he rescues the scientist from the Brooklyn Bridge, and then you have a few middle parts and then the end. But most of the movie was just Alec Baldwin being Alec Baldwin. That was my problem with it. Just like with the Sylvester Stallone Judge Dredd, you see him a little bit in the beginning with the helmet. Right. And a little bit at the end with the helmet, but for the most part of the movie, he's wearing. It's him.
Tobey Maguire kept ripping the Spider-Man mask off throughout the whole
movie. Exactly.
Spider-Man's gonna leave the mask on. Don't take the role of Spider-Man if you don't want. Robert Downey Jr. every 10 seconds hits the button and his Iron Man helmet comes off.
Or you see that point of view where he's inside of the thing, and yeah,
that doesn't bother me as much. Okay, all right. But leave the freaking helmet on. You're Iron Man. I don't care about Robert Downey Jr. I want to see Iron Man shooting repulsor rays at everybody. And it also bothered me that Captain America wasn't Captain America for most of his appearance. He had a different costume. He even had a different shield. He didn't have his mask on. Be Captain. Commit to the bit.
A few things bothered me about the Chris Evans movie. The main one being, where were the Nazis? It's Captain America. You have to fight Nazis, not Hydra agents. Show me the Nazis. And nobody had guns. They all had laser guns. I was like,
I know.
What the hell is this? I mean, I loved the Red Skull in it. I thought Hugo Weaving did a great job, but the majority of it, it wasn't the costume. He wasn't part of the Howling Commandos. Bucky was an adult. They changed too much. That's the reason why this one, as cheesy as it is, it's a lot closer to the comics than the Chris Evans one, I thought. Certainly the costume.
Yeah. That bothered me. That Captain America, laser guns in World War II, knock it off. Commit to the bit. But I don't know. It's okay to shoot people with laser guns, but not lead bullets, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I could understand why no swastikas, but come on, guys. I mean, in his first issue, his first appearance, it's literally him punching Hitler in the jaw. You need to have Nazis in there, even for a little bit. They need to be there. Yeah. They only became Hydra after the war. They weren't Hydra during the war.
Right. Yeah. So that's all I wanted to do was show off these comics so I could start sorting them. Anything you want to say before we go?
No, man, it was really good to swing by and say hello, and can't wait for your Chuck. What time is the Chuck Dixon thing tomorrow again?
11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Better make sure that I carve out some time to see that. I have a few questions I'd like to ask him. And yeah, if you can ask him about, is he ever going to release the Airboy Omnibus or something, a hardcover? I thought he mentioned something about that the last time you talked to him, but I guess he never did anything with it.
I remember we asked him, and I forget what he said, to be honest. But ask him in the chat. We'll bring it up. And, I started at 11 because I know we'll start talking a lot because I got to leave at 1 o'clock to go to work. So this will give us 2 hours.
Cool.
Normally during the week I go at noon. That gives me an hour, and at 1 o'clock I have to shut it down to change, and then in case there's traffic, I got to get to work. I like to get to work 20 minutes early. If you ain't early, you're late is the way I look at work. And we always have a meeting before work to talk about what gets turned on. Especially now after a 3-day weekend, there's going to be a couple of guys work during the weekend, so they always power up stuff when nobody's around in case there's a problem, an explosion or a fire. So
How's Manhattan now? There's still a lot of trash on the floor and all that.
I don't go to Manhattan. I drive to the airport. So I drive to the airport. So I just Queens. I don't deal with Manhattan, thank God. But I like to get to work early because then we get a seat, so I could sit down. I'm an old man. I could sit down through all of these meetings of what we're turning on. The first 20 minutes is you guys get to doing this. This is your job. This is your job. And all the young guys get to stand. But if I'm late, then I got to stand for 20 minutes. But hey, I'll see you guys. So like I said at the beginning of the video, Oscar is coloring Patriarch #1. It's so good. And then right after that, so I don't know. I want to get this King Fu. It's going to be a shorter comic. It's only going to be like 16, 17 pages, divisible by 4. So I'm going to add a couple of things to it to make it. And I would like to get that in people's hands by Christmas. So we're going to be, as soon as we get a couple of pages finished, I'm going to start the campaign. So that might even come first before Patriarch #1, because it might take a little while to get Patriarch all assembled and everything. So either one, I might probably going to have 2 campaigns concurrently.
Are you going to do any conventions, John?
I would like to do conventions. Yes, I just got my my vacation schedule, so I got to submit that. So I want to talk to a couple of people and find out what's local. I don't want my first convention to be some freaking convention in Texas. I want to do a couple of local conventions, but they have to be on the weekend, and I'll have to schedule a vacation if it's out of state. And like Vaughn Coleman is always inviting me to go with him, but I'm like, Vaughn, I gotta fly down there. I gotta get a hotel. I gotta take a week's off vacation. So I was like, I got to make $5,000 in order for this to make. And he's like, yeah. Okay. I said, you understand what I'm talking about? Like, comic books for him is his real job. So he's always driving around. He could write his comics and do his stuff anywhere with his laptop. I have a full-time job that I have to be to. For me to take off is, I'm missing a week's pay plus whatever. So. But he keeps inviting me. One of these days he's going to stop inviting me, and then it's going to be bad. But there's local conventions in New York all the time that I'm gonna cut my teeth on those. So I won't be coming out to your way anytime soon. Is what
that'd be a shame. Go do the Albuquerque Comic Con.
Yeah, I've been to it when I was living out there. It was good. It was small back then. I imagine it's probably bigger now.
Yeah, very bigger. They've taken over the entire convention center.
Which convention center?
The one by the one downtown. That huge building. I guess trying to remember where it was. It's on Broadway, and I'm trying to remember the streets. I'm blanking on it now, but yeah,
so big. Geographically, like it's sprawled out all over. It's huge. I remember like it takes like an hour to drive through
anywhere.
Yeah, it's so big. But anyway, I'm gonna go to bed. I want to wake up and refresh for Chuck in the morning. See you, everybody.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, kids.